Okay, now we need to talk a little bit about these wires. First of all, there's a lot going on here. So we really need to try to summarize and make sense of what all this stuff really is. A lot of the stuff is labeled, right? This one is pretty simple. It says power switch. This is a little bit different, as is this and this. These are all RGB connections and power for the fans that we have up front. So I'm going to do those a little bit separate. As far as front panel connectors, right, this is fan power. This is fan power, right? So for front panel, it's really fairly easy for us. This is an HD audio connector. It's only going to plug in one space. It's our USB 3.0. It's only got one spot it can plug into. And then we have our power switch. So as far as making this functional, it's actually going to be pretty easy. But there's a lot of wires there, so it can be really easy to get confused. I'm going to tackle everything essential first, and then I'll go after the RGB. One of the first things I'm going to do is show you guys this. So these Velcro straps are actually really handy. Most times we have to zip tie stuff in a case, but this allows you to change and manipulate as we need to. So you can just undo that Velcro and stuff wires underneath it. You can pull all the Velcro out and tighten or put it away at will. But really, it's all about making stuff look nice and neat and pretty. So that's really what we're going to be focused on. I'm going to take, again, these style plugs. These are RGB plugs, and you'll see them labeled, right? It says RGB, RGB for the fan. I'm going to try to just flop them over and leave them there. This is also part of the controller for the fan, so we'll address that stuff separately later. Now these two connectors, right? They should have a tab on them. Kind of hard to see. But that tab is going to align with one of our fans on the motherboard. So our case fans, we have two up front that are RGB, but all you need to do to power the fans is get these plugged in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those and I'm going to try to route them through here. It doesn't really matter where, because I'm going to end up adjusting it here in just a second. And this is really more for aesthetics than anything. But your wires are going to connect to anything that says system fan. This says system fan 3. This says CPU fan. They're 4-pin connectors, and the tabs should align with the tabs on the connector. So it really won't plug into anything else that you don't want it to. Let me see. There's another system fan down here. Here's a system fan 2. And there's system fan 1. So there's 4 different spots for fans. We're going to use 2 for the front. We'll have another one we have to use for our radiator assembly once we get the water cooler in. But really you just want to land these in the easiest spot possible. This one's a lot longer cable than this one, so I'm going to plug this guy in right here just because it's closest. The other one I'm going to run up here. Now this is not where they're going to stay. I don't like how much cabling is in here, so I'm going to try to route these cables back behind there. But for now, for functionality and testing, I'm going to leave those where they're at. The other two we really want and to test with is we're going to have this big guy, which actually is USB, right? It will probably go in this slot. Yeah. And then this is our audio. This is for microphone and headphone on the front specifically. Okay, so just note that. Now I know the HD audio connector just from experience is back over on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and route it to a slot that's closer back to the edge, and you'll see once I give you the front view what I'm talking about. Right? So here's my USB connector I put through. It actually has to go right here, and it says USB 3.2 on that plug. This connector you need to be careful with. These pins are really delicate, and this connector is huge. So once you think you've got it aligned, you probably should wiggle it and just gently press it into place. You'll feel it kind of lock in once it gets to where it needs to go. But if you try to press too hard and it's not aligned correctly, you can bend these pins. So just be really careful when you're doing that 3.2 plug. It'll go on okay. And then here's my HD audio. you can't really see it, but this little plug over in the far corner, right down there, is where the HD audio is going to go. And that can only go in one direction as well. So now all of our essential front panel connections are there. I lied. We need to get the power switch. I'm going to route it through a little bit. Your power switch is going to land on your front panel connector, which is down on the bottom. It's that multicolored one, right? Right there. There's a lot of different connections that are there, and it can be hard to read from a distance. So when you can't really view it that well, you go to your manual. And in the manual, come on, they break out your front panel header. So they're basically giving you the connector and showing you this is where everything should go. I see now my power switch should land on pins 3 and 4. So as I'm looking at it, I think it's actually colored red. Orientation doesn't matter because it's just a switch closure. But that's all you have to do. Now our front panel connections are done.